Hello my friends, this is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. Well, come on in. How are you? I hope you're well. I hope things are going good for you. I hope maybe that you're not too hot, but it's hot. It seems to be hot everywhere. Every site I've looked at, people are just talking about how hot it is, no matter whether it's in England or somewhere else in the world, in the States. It's hot. But we just keep right on rolling, don't we? Well, guess what? I got something new. I got new hair color. Well, the hair color I had that was recommended by the lady at the beauty supply place, she told me it was just right for gray. And in a few videos back, I put it in. It's more like a rinse. It's not really a dye. And I do my own. I just, don't have time to sit in the salon all day. And I have my own, my own utility sink. And she said, oh, this is just perfect for gray hair. And I did not get black. I got like a dark brown. Well, in the videos and just me looking in the mirror, it turned my hair black. And I'm telling you, I'm not trying to hide the gray. I'm just trying to soften it, especially around the face. Just trying. And I'm telling you, it just killed my hair. It just killed my hair. It matted my hair. It was awful. It was, I don't want to pull out the brand. I have to go get it. But it was not something that I was used to. And it's just very simple. You just, after I relax my hair, I put it in and let it sit with the with the grocery sack bag over my head for a little while, and then you take it off and rinse it out. Well, it killed my hair. My hair was just dead. The whole texture, the whole shaft of my hair, it was, like I said, matted when I tried to rinse it out. It was just awful. And this was from the lady at the beauty supply place. Well, I had deviated from what I normally use. I normally use Caron, and it's the one in the copper bottle. I don't have it out, but it's called Amethyst. So I had to let that other wash out, I kept washing. I had to let it kind of grow out a little bit, so I had to go through all the gray, had to go everywhere with all that gray, And so finally, this time when I relaxed it and I went back to the color that I had always and that I'm used to using, the Caron Amethyst, it's kind of a dark brown. Well, the first color was supposed to be a dark brown, but it turned my hair black, like I said. But this color just went in great. It gave me a softer look with the gray. I'm not trying to hide it. I just want to soften it, Look, see, it doesn't look black. What do you think? So, no more listening to the people recommendation at the beauty supply place. Know what you're getting, something tried and true. And this was something the color I had always used. I just thought, I don't know, somebody recommended it and I thought I'd give it a try. So I'm very happy. So, I guess that was all I don't know what else new I have. That was all oh! Could there be a new sweater, a new top, a new crochet, and a new scarf? Is that what I have? Well, this is really why I'm on. Come on to share with you my new crochet Summer Breeze lace crochet top. Makes me feel good. And scarf. So this is a scarf we just finished. See that fabric? Wasn't that pretty? So I couldn't help. I looked around in my stash. I didn't run out and buy anything. I looked in my stash, and lo and behold, I had 3 skeins of this Caron Simply Soft. And I'll go over all the names and everything. But is that not a perfect match? Look. Is that not? Oh. I forgot to tell you, I'm just now wearing stuff for Mother's Day. I caught that Macy's sale. I bought me a necklace and some earrings. I thought, well, I'm tired of gold, I'll go silver. So what do you think? What do you think of the whole package? Look, you got to work with what you got, people. And I was so excited to finish this. And as you can see in the pictures, now it wasn't that I was on a caffeine high while I made like 3 different versions. I tried 3 different yarns because I wanted to be able to share with you and help you look in your stash. And of course, I want you to get a good fit. And I'm really excited about this. It's very simple. You know, my things are simple, but I enjoy the process of designing it simple, making my working formula, which I'm going to share with you how to make this, how to fit yourself, and I just believe you're going to have good results too. That's the whole purpose, so that you will have good results and that you will give it a try. Scarf, crochet top, little Caron. You know, what could be better than this? So, as we transition from very hot summer, I'm telling you, just scorching. But we are having a lot of storms, a lot of rain. In fact, we're about washed away, you know. But as we transition, I just thought, let's go ahead and make some really tops that this will transition into the fall. When you see how easy and, you know, like I said, I'm going to help you try to get a good fit. You will be able to make this in several different yarns and in different colors. And it's just a good transition pattern from one, you know, from one part of the season to another. Well, I can't wait to share it with you. I'm excited. I'm glad you're here. I don't know. I just keep thinking about, well, as my friends, you know, we've come a long way from the start of the year, and I've gone through my birthday, and I've shared some things, and so now I'm just looking forward to the fall and hope that I can come up with some surprises for you. But right now, we're going to start with Jay's Crochet, a Summer Breeze lace crochet top, just for you. So, let's get started. All right, so let's have a quick overview of each top, and I will share with you the yarn that I use. The first thing I want to tell you is that we're going to go down in hook size. So what you want to do is, and I hope you can find some in your stash like I did, you're going to need at least 3 to 4 skeins depending on how many yards you have in your skeins. But I want you to look for something that you could use a size H hook, a size H crochet hook, so that we can keep this lace, you know, sort of stay nice, and it'll fit your body and it'll drape really pretty. One of the first yarns that I looked in my stash, and I have a bunch of this in different colors because I just always get it on sale at Joann's. It turned out, you know, it's just really nice, just inexpensive yarn, but it drapes nice and it crochets or knits up just great. This is Premier Everyday Baby by Deborah Norville. Now this yarn calls for a G hook, but you know, like I said, when I was designing, I just tried to keep it to an H hook on no matter what yarn I used, so I could see how it would drape and fit my body. Then I could write up, write up formulas and try to help you find a size. So even though it is a number 3, so even if you don't have this number 3, you may have other number 3 yarns. Look at it, even if it calls for a G hook, just know that we're going to work it with an H hook. All right, G just takes too long, and it'll just make the fabric too tight. So an H hook, and I went ahead and marked it so I would remember it when I made it again. All right, so there's the first yarn. Now here's the first top that I made with the yarn, and as you can see, it's just really light. And we'll see how it looks on the camera here. You can see it's just look bouncy and light, and I think at one time I thought I was going to go to an eye hook, but it was going to open the lace up too much, and I didn't want that extra see-through, and then it just changed my math, so I stayed with an H hook even on this baby. And it's done. Now we're going to do this in 2 pieces. This is the front. We'll do the front first, and then I'll show you how, once you do the front, how easy it is to calculate the back. And the back is just a big square. So when I turn it over, it's just a nice big square. You just have to know how, how many repeats that it will take. Then once we get up to, and I've got one I worked almost, up to this point in real time, you're going to see that we won't have to sew up the shoulder seams completely. We're going to leave a peekaboo seam right there, and I'll show you how all of that works, once we get there. And it's mainly, like I said, just very simple. When I'm designing something, I really don't want 5 and 6, 7 rows and then try to I want to keep it really simple. Once we get the first one and you get some idea of the numbers and the working formula, then we'll try it in a more intricate stitch or something else. But I like to work it out first in inexpensive yarn, and then you can work it in any yarn of your choice. So this is just what I'm showing you now. So now let me show you the next one, the one that I was wearing, and show you that yarn. But isn't that pretty? And of course this yarn comes in lots of pretty colors, or any other number 3 yarn that you want, but we're going to use an H hook. All right, let me show you the next one. Okay, so now maybe you are in an area where it's where it's not so hot, and that you could take a heavier weight yarn. All right, this is one that you'll recognize. Like I say, I had this, I got this in lots of colors, and this is Caron Simply Soft. Now this is a number 4 weight yarn, a medium weight, one that I normally use when I'm knitting. But it actually requires or calls for an H hook, which is good. But, like I say, unless you're in a climate where you can really, this is heavier. You can just see it. Let me just move the yarn over. Let me just show you the drape. There's not really any drape. It is more of a stationary, very nice, out of summer. It's fall now. I want to wear something. I don't need long sleeves right now. It's not cold, but it's just nice. And so this is the heavier weight, a number 4 weight, Caron Simply Soft, but I did use a H crochet hook. Doesn't have the drape, but you saw me wear it. You saw how it fit on my body. And it is quite warm. It is, it is a warm. This will be great even next year as we go from winter to spring. We can pull this out again, and what we'll do is, once I show you how the process of designing it, we will just change the stitch. Maybe try another more intricate stitch, or something different, and then this will be perfect. But at least you will have the know-how. But I think it will transition greatly into the fall season. In the States, we call it fall. I think most other places, they call it autumn. So as we transition from hot to now cool, and you can, of course, change it, put it in any color. You could, any pretty fall color, like the one I'm going to be practicing in the yarn. It's a nice orangey type color. So you could, of course, black. So this will be real pretty to transition. So that's the second one. Now, the one that I'm working on. Hold on for that. Okay. Well, now, number 3, the one I'm finishing up in real time. And it's kind of like, the Goldilocks scenario. One is very, very light. Okay. One is more on the heavier side, or more, There's more weight to it. And then there's one that you can find as you try different yarns that's just right. And that turned out to me to be Burnett, Yarn Inspiration, Burnett or Burnett, whichever you say, Burnett Satin. And this color is called Silk. And this is the one that I thought, this one is just right. But I like the others because, you see, I made them, and I will definitely, But this one, it's a number 4 weight. Even though it is a number 4 weight, it calls for an H hook. But the difference in the softness, so that's what you'll kind of see, the difference in the softness between the Caron Simply Soft. This yarn used to be nice. I don't know what it just, I don't know. It feels harder. It feels so much harder now. But this is an old skein. This is one I had from years ago. But the Burnett Satin is very soft. This is the color. This is Silk. Just really pretty. And let me lay this over here. And let's see the drape. Like I say, it's kind of in between. It's just right. It's right for a transition piece. The lace is not so wide that it's going to show all your personal bits. But it flows really well. And as you can see, I've got some contrasting yarn here because this is the one that I'm going to finish. In fact, I got it on the wrong side. No, I don't. I got it right. All right. So this is the one that I will finish up showing you in real time on the camera when we get up to this point. Like I said, it's worked in 2 pieces, front and back. And like I say, if you just kind of decide which, depending on where you live and the fit you want, you can decide, or the drape, you have a choice. But all are based on, all the numbers that I'm going to give you and walk you through the process is based on an H hook, just to make it easy for us to get everyone on the same page. Alright, I presented with you the 3 different yarn versions, 3 different yarns, the weight and drape and the look of each yarn. So now, all you have to do is go stash diving. See if you have at least, 3, and it depends on your size, 3 to 4 skeins. But we're going to, like I said, do it in 2 pieces. But we will start with the front. So the first thing I want to do is walk you through how to get a fit, how to measure. So now, if you're new to new to following me, I know, when I first came on, you get better. You get more seasoned as you go. I think I can explain it better now. People seem to be kind of catching on. Only a few questions still wants to hang on to, well, how many chains? How many chains? I don't know how many chains, but we're going to find out how many repeats, and I'm going to show you how easy this little system works, and, and to walk you step by step. All right, be back in a minute. All right, if you're new, a new crocheter, you know the basics, or you're new to watching me crochet, then let me, I just want to share with you my system and hope that it will encourage you or help you to enjoy crocheting garments even more. My system is, it's very simple. Since I don't know, I don't know your body, I don't know how many chains it will take. How I understand multiples because I use it all the time. If you watch me in knitting, everything is based on multiple of how many stitches, it takes to make a design. Well, in crocheting, some kind of way I got off of that and started coming up with a way that I thought made more sense to me, and it helped me. It opened a door for me to design my things that you see that I design and wear. So all I'm going to do is share it with you, and hopefully it will help you. So since I don't know how many chains, the first thing is decide on which part of the body that you need to fit or is a little larger than most, not above the hips. Now we're not talking about hip stuff. So if, for instance, if you're heavier or larger in the bust area, then you want to take a measurement from under one arm across the front of your bust, have on a good bra, across to the opposite underarm. You don't need to go all the way around, just across from under one arm, across the bust line, until the other, to your next armpit. I am larger more in my waist, or midriff, so I start at one side of my waist, and I make a chain, and I go across to the opposite side of my waist, of the front of my body, to the opposite side. Does that make sense? So I know I'm going to chain at least enough chains to do that. Then all you have to do to make a longer chain, just chain more chain. 6, 7, 8 inches more. Just chain more. This is, we're not using expensive yarn, so it's not going to hurt anything. Yes, you will have chains left over that we will not use. We will simply, you can always sew with that yarn, do other things. It's not that big a deal. So, for instance, here's a chain that I know. Now, this is just a practice chain, so I'm not going to, but just say that I know that will go from my left side to my right side of my body, and then I chain 7 or 8 inches more of chain. Hence, just make a long chain, longer than what you're going to need, because we're designing this, and I'm going to show you how we're designing this, and everyone will have different numbers. So instead of trying to figure out how many chains, there's a gazillion numbers. I'm going to show you how to create your designs by using the number of repeats. Alright, so let's go. I have a chain now. I have my H hook, but I really was going to use one larger so that you can see, but maybe this will be okay. Let's see if I have one up here that's a little larger, just so that you can see. Alright, I'm going to go up to just a larger hook, but you will be using an H hook. Alright, let's see if I can use this one just so that it will pop out on my practice yarn. Alright, so everyone, everywhere, we will start the same. On my garments, I create a border. It's similar to what I do in knitting. I always start with a border of some type. Well, depend, when I work out the working formula, I have a border. That's just where the two borders will come together at the side seam, and I can sew the border, I can sew the garment or the sweater up. Does that make sense? All right. So to make my border, I always do it the same. Every time, every place, everywhere, every size. In the fourth chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, in the fourth chain, I'm going to make a double crochet. And then I will, in the next chain, I will make another double crochet. So when I stop and look, counting the very edge here, I have 3 double crochets. Now, that's the part I'm adding for my border. Every time I change from double crochets, I like to do what I call an eyelet or transition row. It's simply where I will chain one, and normally I would skip one on the bottom, and it will give you a row of eyelets so that you can always see where each section is separated. But we're going to start the pattern. So after I chain one at the top, then I'm going to skip 3 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Skip 3 chains. Now, in the next chain, I will do a simple V-stitch. We're going to do a simple stitch to make our first, our first top. Very generic and very simple. And then we will be able to switch up the stitches on down the road and make them more intricate once you have this. But the V-stitch is very simple. I do 2 double crochets, just like that, then chain 1, and then 2 more double crochets in that same chain. If you make Afghans, you're already ahead of the game. You know what I'm doing. That's just the simple repeat. Now, every time I need to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do the same repeat. 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 1, oops, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets. Alright, so now, okay, I have a border, and I have 2 repeats of this simple V-stitch pattern. It's not the pattern we're trying to, it's how to find your size, and then we'll go from there. Skip how many? 1, 2, 3 between each V-stitch group or V-stitch section. So that's 2 double crochets, chain just 1, and then 2 double crochets. Now all you have to do, since we don't know how many, I'm just going to do, I don't know, I'll just do several of these V-stitches. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, another V-stitch. See? Chain 1. That's why I wouldn't know how many chains, because we're designing this as we go. Everyone's going to have a different number. Wait and see. Alright, continue across, skip 3, and one, 2, 3, skip 3, and then another V-stitch, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. So I would give myself at least, start out with maybe 7 or 8. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, I'll go 7. Okay, 1, 2, 3, skip 3, 1 more. And I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to show you how we will start the measuring process, the next step. So let's see, 2 double crochets. Well, I'm getting a little knot in my yarn. Don't do that. Oh, how did I do that? Sorry. Chain 1, and then 2 double crochets. Okay. Alright, start there with maybe 7 or 8 of these repeats. We're not concerned. Normally I go for an odd number, but on this one, it's just do me, like I said, 7 or 8 or 9 of these repeats and stop. And then I will join you back to show you the next step. Just simple. That's all we need right now. A border and some V-stitch repeats. And now we're going to see how to measure. Back in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. And look, I have a little surprise. Like I said, the more that I've been on the YouTube and trying to explain things, then I tried to come up with simple ways to just really show you, because I'm just better at showing than trying to write it all down. Well, I remember I had this fabric. I kept thinking to myself, I think you have some dress form, some fabric with some pretty little dress forms. I got this at Joann's probably a year or so ago, and thank goodness I bought at least a yard. So on a few videos back, I used a pillow body, and I thought, oh, this would be perfect. So now I'm just going to make me, I keep forms whenever I have coupons, remember? I'll just pick up a form or two, and I use them for other things, but I thought, what a great thing. I'll make a form, and I'll have my own pillow body, and then I can show you, it's a lot easier to show you the way I measure. All right, so this is your body. This is my body. This is our pillow body. And look, I even sewed a button on this time. Last time I kind of taped it on, but I went ahead and sewed a little button. That is your belly button. Okay? So, for instance, Now we're going to get into how to, move that. How many repeats does it take to fit your body? Alright, so now I've done a few repeats on this long chain. We're not through yet, but we have to stop now to see. And what I want you to do, let's see, make sure I'm on camera good. Yes. And I could pull in just a little bit. I just want you to be able to see. Alright, so we have a border, so we know the border goes over to the side. Or if you're using your bust line, it will be up here under your arm, coming across your, towards your bust line, like this. I'm using more at my midriff, my waist, so I'm putting the border over here on the side. Then I'm gonna just run these repeats over towards my belly button. Now, for this sweater, this is how I would normally do all my designs. I would run it to my belly button right there, and then I would count. Just smooth it out, make sure it fits. You don't have to overstretch it, but you want to make sure you don't want it to be all, you just want to fit it across, pull it a little bit, and then you can count from your belly button to the waist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 on this particular repeat. And then if I have 6 on this side, well, you don't even have to worry about the other side. You know you're going to do 6 on that side. This border gives positive ease. Alright, but now on this particular sweater or top that we're doing, I need you to take 2 of your fingers and put it on this side of the belly button. And we want to stop about 2 finger lengths. So just take your 2 fingers, stick it there, just kind of fill in there, just like that. And then we're going to count how many right up to your fingers. You don't have to touch your belly button, but just be there, just like that. And I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, and I get 5. 5 repeats. Now, on your real body, you will be doing this. You will take this, put it to your sides or up under your arm, across the front of your bust. And now on the bust, since you just have to kind of use your cleavage, just kind of stop. If you go to the center of your cleavage, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say if it took 6 to go to the center of your cleavage, then go back, just go count back 1. On the belly button, I just usually use my fingers. That just helps to remind me. I stick my 2 fingers there, and I count over how many repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeats before my 2 fingers and my belly button. Does that make sense? 5 repeats for this little pillow body. On my real sweater, I'm going to move this now just for a second. On my real sweater, I had to have 8. It took me 8. Let's see if I'm on the front. Here I am. Let's see if I'm too close. No, that'll be okay. All right. Here's that underarm, my border. Now I can count the repeats, and you can see that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 8 on this number 4 yarn, or yarn that was a little heavier. On the baby yarn, the one that was yellow, because baby yarn is a little finer. It's like a number 3. I had to have 9. See, that's why I'm telling you. Everyone will be different, but if you measure like I'm showing you, the number of repeats. There's my little border. Now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I still had my 2 fingers, but it took 1 extra because this yarn's a little lighter, a little finer. Does that make sense? So if you were doing this in thread, thread weight, you would make a long chain just like we've done. You do the repeats just like we've done, and then you will have to measure across in threads. And by threads being a lot smaller, you may have, you're going to have a number that's a little larger. You're going to have, it takes more. It will take more repeats to get there. Does that make sense so far? Now, with that information, we can write up our one line or how we're going to crochet this top. Now, I'm going to pull in so we can just talk just a minute. So now, I can write it up. You just get yourself a little notepad and a pencil, and now we can just fill in the blank. All right, this is Jay's working formula for this stitch for this top. Each stitch could be different depending on, how big or how small the stitch is, but you're going to get the basic. You just got the basics. How to measure by the number of repeats. And I'm going to use this video. I should have made it on a separate. I should have separated, but I'm going to try to use this video for people to go back and look and see how easy it is. So I'm going to use my real numbers now, not the one on that little pillow body. All right, but on my real basic sweater, I had 8 repeats. So if I have eight repeats on one side, I'm going to have 8 repeats on the opposite side of the belly button with my 2 fingers on each side, to separate, give me a little room. So I know I have 8. Here's the belly button or the center area, and then 8 on this side. Whatever your number is, you're going to write it on this. You can make up a little schematic like this. Now, the center portion, the portion between the 2 fingers, the belly button, and the opposite 2 fingers, everyone, everywhere, every size, you get 11 double crochets. The number 11. I just worked out the math. Don't ask me. But it worked out the best for me. And so, everyone, everywhere, every size, you just go ahead and put 11. So I have for the front, and this is the back, so this is the front. For my real size, in real time, I work, depending on the yarn, the smaller the yarn, the more repeats you're going to have. So on the baby yarn, I had 9, but on the regular yarn, and on the yarn I'm going to be, I had 8 repeats over here, so that makes 8 repeats across on the opposite side, plus my little border. The little border is already, you don't worry about that, you just count the number of repeats. Everyone, everywhere, every size, you get 11 double crochets in the center. Now the back, let me show you how easy. Go ahead and do it now, and then I don't have to come back. The back, you will add each front. So if I have 8 plus 8 equals 16. This is how you're going to figure the back. You're going to take however many repeats here, however many repeats, add them together. So mine is 8 and 8 is 16. Now everybody, everywhere, every size, forget about that 11. Now you're going to add a plus 6. Everyone, everywhere, every size. You will take this number of repeats, add it to this number. Mine is 8 and 8 is 16. Now everyone will add 6 more repeats. So my 16 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 repeats. My back, I will do my border and then 22 repeats of this stitch for my back square. The back is just one big old square. I will work it long chain and then do my little 3 double crochet borders on, when I started. You're going to follow the same principle, but you just keep going with repeats all the way until you have whatever your number is. My number across my back is 22. Does that make sense? Can you see this formula? Can you see how I came up with it? I hope I was all on camera. I didn't know where I was. That's it. Like I don't know where I was. I was just all over the camera. Let's see, can I back out a little bit? But look at the numbers. It will be here for you to just breathe, take a minute. Very simple. Went through it all. Everyone will get 11 on the front. And you'll see in just a minute how we're going to use those 11 stitches. The back is just one big square. And how do you figure out how many repeats? Instead of, you just simply add each front repeat, plus everyone will add 6 more repeats. Sounds like a lot, and the back will look a little larger. It's going to look, but trust me, the math works and it fits. I'll show you how it just takes into account. I can't. Just trust Jay. You saw me wear the sweater. So I'm telling you this now so that in the meantime, what I do is once I start working the front, then I'll stop and get another skein and just go ahead and start working, since the back is just really monotonous. Watching TV, listen to an ebook, watching other YouTube channels, or watching people work on their projects on the YouTube. I can just do my 22 repeats, ho hum, crocheting right along, because all I need is a square. And then I'll tell you how many for every one of my sweaters. I'll move this. I worked 40. I counted each of these repeats. Let's see if I'm backed out enough. I can back out just a little more. All right, now I counted each one of these repeats, and I worked 40 repeats on the front all the way up. Just 40 repeats. That brought me to where I felt it was just right for my shoulders. And just on that last row that was number 40, I just stopped I just pulled the yarn through, stopped it. So 40 of these little V-stitches. 1, 2, 3, just count carefully. And I worked till I had 40. On the back, like I said, it's one big rectangle. One big square. And I just started across the bottom, and I just kept working until I had 40 of these repeats all the way up. So 40 on the front, 40. Now that's my size. You're taller, you may have to go 42, 44, 45. It just depends. If you are a little small, thin person, you may not need but 32, 34. Every person will be different. You'll just have to hold that part up to you to see where it's going to come from your waist, up to your shoulders. It took me 40. I think I don't know if I really have a size for this, but I call it the large, extra large. That's where this one kind of falls, large to extra large. I've gained weight, so I'm bigger than that. But in knitting and crocheting, I can wear a smaller size than what I wear in the store. In the store, I'd be larger. But in knitting and crocheting for my own garments, I can wear a large or an extra large. Maybe one day I'll be down to a medium and a large. In my dreams. So I've given you my numbers so that you'll have something to compare or get an idea of where I am. People just like to know what my numbers are, and that's what I've shared with you. All right, so now let's get on with going across and show you the next step. Let me move all of this, and I'll be right back. All right, so now back to the front. All right, on my sample, my pillow body, remember, on my practice piece, I only needed 5 repeats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's how come I made a long chain of repeats. Now I can just pull back to the number of repeats that I really needed for this one side. So there we go. So now just stretch your chain out. So now on my practice and on my pillow body, the pillow body only needed 5 repeats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, all right, so now to go to the center part where everyone will get 11 double crochets. And you're going to see how this number 11 works when we put it all together, you're going to go, oh man, that was easy, Jay. I didn't have to feel, oh my gosh, because I thought ahead. Well, that's what designing is. You have to think ahead and think of scenarios, and I'm not even smart at it. I wish I was, to do like the people who are really, big name knitters and stuff. But on my level, I'm sharing what little bit I know and I've figured out. So now I've done the 5 repeats and I've pulled back for my practice pillow body. I want to stop this section. So in order to stop the section, remember, every time I want to stop and go to a different stitch or another section, I chain 1 at the top, just chain 1, okay? But now to stay in the pattern on the bottom, I have to skip 3 on the bottom. So 1, 2, 3. And now I will put in my 11 double crochets. That's 1. Go to the next chain. There's 2. And then to the next chain. There's 3. And I'm going to do 11. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 11 right here on camera, so you'll know what to do when you get to the end of the 11. Just to remind you. Just like this. So it won't take me but a minute. I'm going to have to get him to check the background noise. People, I live in the land of mowed grass and everybody's out. When one starts, it's like they all start. And it's like that all week. And then finally, at least they got the word, people said okay, but just not on the weekends or on Sunday. People had company and family over, so if it gets too loud, I will have him to please check and see if he can tamper down some of the mowing. All right, I'm trying to get to 11 double crochets while I pull my hair out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So here's how so far my practice swatch. 5 repeats of the stitch here. Chain 1, but I have to skip 3 on the bottom on this row here. I put in my 11 double crochets now to go from the double crochets back to the, what is this? This done drove me crazy. V-stitch. I need to chain 1 at the top and skip 3 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm back into the V-stitch, and of course I have to match whatever number you had on one side. You match it on this side. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets. All right, I'm gonna let them rest a little bit, and then I'll be back after I've done 5 and show you how to stop the whole thing. Does that make sense? Am I in front of the camera? All right, back in a minute. Okay, looks like they moved to another area of so I'm back real quick so that we can continue on to get through this first row. Let's see if I can pull in just a little bit. All right, now on my practice pillow body size, I had 5 on this side. We did the 11 double crochets. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm coming up to the last one so I can show you how to stop and for us to turn. You finish the V-stitch, and you have to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I need 1 more V-stitch to match the opposite side. So I'll do double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets. Just like that. Now, to make sure I count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have to put a border just like this on the opposite side. So I chain 1, skip 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I will simply fill in with 1 double crochet, go to the next chain, a 2nd double crochet, and then a double crochet in the next chain. So now I have 3 double crochets, just like when we started this row. Oops, it's kind of splitting. All right, so here is my first row. You will have your first row with however many repeats, your 11 double crochets. Now when I get to the end, just like I've done, I will chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, turn the work. And now you're just going to stack things on top of each other. That's all there is, because like I said, I kept the stitch simple till we get through this first top together, just a simple top. But this is the way I work the pattern. It's no big, you know. So a V-stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets on top of that V-stitch. And you're just going to work your way across. All the way across, just stacking things. And just when you get here to the V-stitch before you go into the double crocheting, all you have to do is chain 1 and then stack the double crochets on top of each other. On this side, when you come out, when you stop the double crochets, chain 1, start the V-stitches on top of each other. When you get to this border here, remember there's a chain 1. Anytime you leave one stitch to another, chain 1, then you'll put 3 double crochets, chain 3, and turn the work and continue. So now I'm going to work back and forth till I have a little bit so that I can show you how to separate the front. The back is just one big square, but the front, I'm going to show you how these 11 double crochets for every one, every size, is going to make a beautiful separated front V neck border. Alright, so I'm going to work a few more stitches and I'll be back. Okay, so I've worked a few rows and the lawn people have gone. Oh gosh, it's a man thing, people, it's a man thing. All the people in our neighborhood, you know, we all built houses at the same time, so everybody's retired. So if one starts cutting the grass, the other one has to run out and cut grass. It's a man thing. Okay, so I have worked a few rows, and I want to stop and see if we're on the same page. See if yours look like what I have. See if you have. All right, you should see your row. You should see your little borders, your 3 double crochets here, and then a chain 1. Oops, I had a little mistake there. I have to pull that back. Oh, J. I was in a hurry. So, and then you just stack, I'll just stack these V-stitches right on top of each other. There's no chain or anything between them. I'm just stacking 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Alright, just moving right along as I come up towards the center, towards the middle of this front is where I want to get to. We're going to pretend and go ahead and start the separation. I'm just getting up to, alright, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Alright, here I am at the last on this side. So double crochet, 2 double crochets. Oops. Chain 1 and then 2 double crochets. All right, so now I see, and like I said, we're pretending that we're up to, now I believe I did 12 inches. I didn't count actually how many repeats, but I did about 12 inches from the bottom of my piece down here at the bottom up to where I wanted to start the separation. I'm not a cleavage shower, so I had about 12 inches. You might like yours a little lower. You might like yours a little higher, you know. So that's your decision on how many inches or how far up either below the cleavage line, at the cleavage line. I'm usually right above the cleavage line. All right, so, but I want to make sure that we had the same thing. So before I go into, this is what you should have. You have your, see this eyelet row? That's when you do that chain 1 right there. When you leave this stitch, go into that one. So that makes that separation row. See it? And then over here, you see the same thing. Once you leave this stitch, go to that one, you put that chain 1, and there's that separation row. All the things will be stacked on this, and then I ended up with 1, 2, 3, a double crochet, well, 2 double crochet, you go into the post, and that makes 3 double crochets for that end. So everything should look, you should have something that looks like this. If not, okay. So now we're getting ready. We're going to pretend now. Okay, Jay, I've worked up, and I'm going to chain 1, and I'm moving over to my double crochets. Now, everyone had 11 double crochets, so I'm going to do 5 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 4 and 5. Let's just check and count again. So once I've decided how far up I want to take this front panel, and then to start separating at either below your cleavage, at your cleavage. I'm above. I usually do it right above, so I'm not, like I said, that's just me. So, but I've decided, so we're pretending now. So everyone will go over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. 1 will be left unworked, and then there will eventually be 5 on this side when we come back. But let's go ahead and do this. Alright, I want to stop, so I simply chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn the work. Just like that. Now, when I work back, I want to immediately take this 5 and turn it into 4. That's what I was trying to get to. I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to do a decrease. Chain 3, turn. Now watch. Into this double crochet, I'll pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. Yarn over, go through the next double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2, stop. I will have 3 loops on my hook. I will pull through all 3. I have turned 5 double crochets into just 4. You do that as soon as you turn and start working back. And then you go chain 1. Now I'm going to go back into pattern. 2 double crochets. Chain 1. 2 double crochets. Go over to the next, stack on top of the next V-stitch. 2 double crochets. Chain 1. Oops. And then 2 double crochets. And you will start working this side. And remember, I mainly counted how many of these repeats from the bottom to the top of my shoulders. I had 40. So now all I have to do is just keep working back and forth on this side, and you will stay at 4. When you come back, you will simply stack, chain 1, then you're going to go 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3, and then you go into the post to make 4, because we've decreased 1, and you will stay at 4. Everyone, once you decrease, then you'll just work all the way up, however many you need to get to the shoulder. And now what I want to do is go to the other side just to make sure that you connect. So I'm just going to cut this yarn just to save time. Alright, so now I've worked this side of my sweater all the way up till I have however many of these V-stitch repeats you had. Like I said, I wanted 40. Mine came out to be 40. Alright, so now I have to come back and work on this side. So you want to start on the front, because you were on the front when you left this one, when you started. If we hadn't stopped, we would have went straight across. So I'm going to skip 1, leave 1 empty right there. I hope all this is on camera. It was kind of far back, wasn't it? Ooh. I hope you was able to see that. Okay. So I'm going to skip one, and then I'm going to go into the next one, put my hook in, just like you would normally connect. However you connect. Some people tie knots. Oh, Lord, now I got a big knot in my yarn. What in the world? Okay. I just put it, loop it over the hook. I skip that one double crochet. I go to the next one. You can tie a knot however you connect. Just connect it. And then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I work as 2 double crochets. That's 3. Here's 4. And here's 5 on this side. And then chain 1, and then you start stacking your V-stitches. 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Go to the next one, just stacking on top of each other. 2 double crochets. Oops. Oh, man. I got some split yarn here. Chain 1 and then 2 double crochets. Alright, so you will work all the way to the end of this row, and then when you turn and come back on this side, you're working, see each front is separate now, so now you're working on this side, and when you come back, we had 5 double crochets, so you're going to have to work up. Let's see, can I turn? Alright, you'll go double crochet, then you will yarn over, do the exact same thing here. Decrease by double crocheting those 2 together, and then work into the post. That will take 5 double crochets down to 4. You want me to do that one? Alright, let me pull this out, and I'll just pretend like I went to the end. Now I'm turning and I'm coming back. We'll just say I'm coming back. Well, because we always have people that, you know, are still kind of doing that, like, well, I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I'll just stop it here. Okay, now chain 1, 2, 3. Now you'd have to go all the way to the end. Now I'm coming back. I'm pretending like I'm coming back. And I've got to take these 5 double crochets down to 4 on this side. Chain 1, 2 double crochets. Okay. And then I see I need to still chain 1. Every time you leave this and go here. Now, I need to work into this double crochet. That's 1, 2. Now the next 2, you see there's 3 left, so I'm going to go in the next 2 and go yarn over, put up a loop, stop, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the next double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2, now stop. I have 3 left on the hook. So now I pull through all 3. I've taken 5. Now, but you have to go into the post. There's a post here. So double crochet into the post. Now I've taken 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've turned it into 1, 2, these 2 are together, 3, 4. Now when I chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn the work, now all I have to do is just stay with the 4 now. So I go back into the next double crochet. There's 1, 2. This is number 3, and here's number 4. And of course, to go to this section, I have to chain 1. So 5 has turned into 1, 2, 3, 4. And you will stay at 4. Everyone will stay at 4. Then I start stacking. I'm going back into pattern, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Does that make sense? So we're pretending a little bit now. You can see we have 1 double crochet that's left unworked. We will simply take care of that once we're done, and we will do a couple of rows of single crochets, and that will take care of that one and make it a pretty V. So that's how your front is going to look once you separate. Does that make sense? Everything stays in pattern. This goes up the center. And the best way, like I said, just keep going, and then every once in a while you have to stop and just count these right here along the edge. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, however many you need to get from the bottom to the top of your shoulders. I needed 40. So when I reached 40 in my little 4 borders, because I reduced it from 5 to 4, I stopped. And then I made sure I went to the next side, worked the same, and I'd count. Every once in a while I'd stop and see, okay, 30. Looked like I wasn't going to ever get to 40. 34. And I'd work a few more rows and I'd count. Finally I got to 40 on this side, and then I stopped. And like I said, since the back is just one big square, I would just use another skein. Once I got this one started, I would simply take another skein, start the back. You know the formula, how many you need to have, plus the little borders on each side. I will join you back, and I'm going to show you how to put the seam in at the top of the shoulders, and why we had to add 6 repeats, every one, everywhere, every size. We had to add those 6 extra repeats for the back, and at first the back's going to look a little like it might be. It's going to be a little large. It's going to hang over a little more off of the front, but it works. Don't get scared. Trust me. All right, see you back in a little bit. All right, we're almost home free. All right, let's get to the putting together of things. First of all, I hope if I didn't say it, when we first started, I always mark the wrong side of my fabric with a piece of contrasting yarn, because I don't want to get somewhere and at the end sew up the wrong sides together. But anyway, I have laid my 2 right sides, my 2 fronts together. My back front along with my right front, so I have the backs marked. Now, I'm getting much better at sewing my side seams. I have already sewn up my side seams, and I finally have come to the conclusion that I can't do it exactly like I do my knitted seams, but I have a very nice seam here. I'm getting much better. I'm doing it's flatter, and all I did was just take a little small stitches, not picking up much yarn, and it was more like a whip over stitch, but very little. I didn't pick up a big chunk of yarn to do it. I kept it very small, and now I have a nice flat seam. This is the wrong side, and when I turn it, when you look at the right side, you can't even see the seam. You just see the section. So I'm getting better. I'm doing good because of you guys. But anyway, I have already sewn up my seam, and look, I sew up to the arm space, and I never tie off your arm space. What you can do is sew up both seams like I did, and then I took some safety pins or whatever, and I pinned across the top. And then I can try on my sweater to see how it feels. But I really like to leave the sleeve opening until I can make sure I can match both sleeve arm space. So, but right now I want to get to, so both my side seams are sewn up. Alright, but I have not tied off my arm space, not till I finish this shoulder seam. See, I'll just leave the yarn hanging. Alright, so now I want to show you how we're going to put these 2 pieces together. I have the 2 right sides facing each other. And now we'll see. Let's see if I need to move up just so you can see that part of it a little better. Oh yeah, and I need to move that back over. Alright, let's see, can I? maybe about right there, maybe. All right, I think you can see what I'm gonna do. All right, now, all right, I have my yarn needle all with my yarn already in it, and I'm gonna start here, and we're gonna match up, starting with this, because both front and back had the 3 double crochets for the sleeve. See, they're out on the edge. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna lightly pick up just a little yarn on each side and pull it and connect those two. Just a little. All right. Now, this is what I want to get to. Let's see if, sorry, it's on this white. I had already sewn up the blue because I was trying to, you know, I wanted to wear it. I'll pull in just a little bit more just so you can see what I'm going to do on this. All right, we're going to leave like a little, we're going to make like a little peekaboo seam. Now, I don't know if that's the correct name or something. Or I just thought that's what I'm going to call it, the peekaboo, just a seam here. And what that is for me, you see the little scallops. You see the little, you see our V-stitch. All right, each one of these will have to have a matching V-stitch right across on the back side, front and back or back or front, but each one will match up to the corresponding one on the other side. I am not going to sew a complete seam. After I do this little 3 stitches right here on the arm space, see those 3 stitches I've just taken, I've sewn. Now I'm going to run my yarn, just kind of weave it up. You remember that chain 1 space in the V-stitch? There's a chain 1 space right there. Can you see it? I put my finger there. Can you see it? Well, there's a corresponding space over here. See it on that side. All right, I'm going to weave my yarn, just kind of put it up to that opening. Then I will take, once I get there, then I will take a little stitch and put those two, the chain 1 space and the chain 1 space on this side. I'm going to just stitch it across right there, and I'm going to take about 3 stitches across so that it will not come loose. All right, then look, I don't sew anything else. I look to the next V-stitch on this side, the back, and then the one on the front, the chain 1 space. I'm going to weave the yarn again up to that space. Here it is, see? And then I'm going to match it up with the chain 1 space on the opposite side. And I'm going to take 3 stitches there. Just go in there and take yourself 3 good stitches to make sure that that little join doesn't pull loose, because we're not sewing. And as you notice, it's going to leave a little space. See? Because we're only connecting the V-stitch to a V-stitch. The center, the chain 1 space right there, you see my finger, and then here's a corresponding space on this side. So I match those up, run it, well, first of all, run the yarn through up to that space. See? Then I match the 2 chain 1 spaces up, and I just simply do a little stitch, do 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, so that it will not ever pull apart. Open it back up, and you'll see I have a space. All right, move to the next V-stitch, and you will continue all the way across. And if I had 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then I have to match up 8 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, guess what? When I get to this front edge where I had the 4 double crochets, I'm going to use the 9th one of the V-stitches, the next one, to, I will sew those 4 double crochets to a V-stitch. So I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so I'll have to take 1 and sew. Take your time. So if I have at least four stitches over here, I've got to make 4, not 1 stitch like we were doing here, but actually because my yarn's not yarn's not over there. But you will actually go in and sew each. So I've got about 4 stitches that I need to sew, and then weave in the tail. Then you will simply count over, and you're going to put this side together. Now, maybe if I switch now to the darker color. But does that make sense? And all this is done on the wrong side. Now here I go. Let me switch to this color. So now you can see the nice seam. Let's see, can I back out, or how does it look for this? I think you can see. Yep, now I need to back out. Okay. About right there. That looks good. Alright, so now you can see how those double crochets matched up to one of, I had to sacrifice one of, remember those 6? We added 6 repeats. Well, I sacrificed one of those repeats on this side and on this side, which would leave me 4 repeats. Everyone will have 1, 2, 3, 4 repeats of this stitch for the back of your neck, for the back, very back neck section of this top. See, had to think ahead. But look at this nice seam. Can you see my fingers pointing through? See the nice little peekaboo seams? I only tacked or sewed where the V-stitches met at the very center, all the way. But now when I did, of course, the edge of the sleeve, you've got to tack the whole thing down. You got to sew the whole thing together. So now, overall view, real quick. So I have my shoulders sewn together. I have my nice seam. I'm so proud that I'm doing so much better, you guys, on sewing my, I don't have a problem with sewing my knitted, but I was struggling with, but now I've got, look, there's no big bulge. There's no, it's flat on both sides. There's no big wad of fabric like this. It's nice and flat, good seams. Okay, we've done the little seam at the top. Now you simply need to take, I just take a smaller crochet hook, like a G or something really small, and then I will do a start up at the shoulder seam and start single crocheting all the way around the neck and back around. Come back to where you started, all right? And then you're going to run a second row of single crochet, and this is what pulls it together and gives it that pretty V shape right there in the front. See, now you can see this one much better. See that? And I like the fact that we went from 5 and trimmed it down to 4. It just makes it look much nicer. On the sleeve, once you have finished sewing your shoulders, I didn't care. I kept putting on the right bra, and I tried on my sweater with the right side out and everything to see how my arms looked, if I needed to sew it up a little more or let it out a little bit, because I didn't tie anything off until I really. And then I checked it with this side to see if they kind of matched. I kind of measured. You just want to try to be, because once you tie everything off, you don't want to have to go back in there. Then I took that same little G hook and I attached my yarn, and I did 2 rows of single crochet around the edge of the arm space, here and here. And there was nothing to do at the bottom. I love the bottom just plain. I did not want a single crochet or anything else on my edge. I like this. So, what do you think of this? I hope you give this one a try, because we can, now that you have the idea, we can simply change the stitch and try it again with a new stitch. Just plain and simple. I hope you like this. I enjoyed it so much. I felt so pretty in my sweater. I can't wait to work up something else and like I said, and make more scarves. So give it a try. Give the scarf a try. find you some pretty yarn. Look in your stash. It's a stash buster. And then, of course, send me some pictures and let me know what you think. Well, this is Jay's Crochet, a Summer Breeze lace crochet top, just for my friends. I just want to share with you and let you know how much I appreciate you. So, I hope you're happy crocheting. Enjoy it. Until next time, I will see you. Enjoy.